We've already published a longer biopic video and several short videos about him and his success story. But Elon also has a dark side, and we want to shed light on it in this video. However, there are two sides to every story, and Elon hasn't taken a public stance on every accusation, so treat some things with a pinch of salt. Coup in Bolivia. The CIA has overthrown democratically elected governments several times in its history. If you're wondering why you've barely heard about it in the mainstream media, you should look into this. A tweet from Elon Musk in July 2020 suggests he was involved in the process in the case of Bolivia to gain access to lithium deposits there. He tweeted, "We will coup whoever we want. Deal with it." Interns at SpaceX. American investor Keith Rabois posted a tweet about working at SpaceX, according to which Elon once threatened to fire all interns for waiting in a long line for coffee at SpaceX and installed cameras to ensure it wouldn't happen again. Obviously, there was a bottleneck and therefore a jam. Elon's behavior was one possible solution. A better one would have been to eliminate the bottleneck, something managers do every day without threatening to fire anyone, or simply purchase more coffee machines so that there are no long lines, even at peak times. Everyone in Tesla is in an abusive relationship with Elon. This is the statement of a former Tesla executive, and at times there was a real shake-up among the top managers. A Quartz article also talks about how Musk fires young engineers for asking questions, or how he quickly labels employees as idiots. In addition, he sets completely unrealistic time and target specifications and still expects his employees to meet them. Targets should be realistic, because only realistic targets are achievable and sustainable. He promises a lot but doesn't consistently deliver. This Guardian article is about his over-promising. Quote, "The CEO is notorious for making exaggerated claims about his business." Furthermore, a Tesla worker reported, "I'm always really surprised how he keeps giving numbers that we've never been able to respect. He would say we would produce such and such cars by such date, and we're never able to hit it. For me, a responsible person should stick to his word. As a Tesla employee, I'm really ashamed when my CEO is lying to the public." A former co-worker describes what it's like to work with him. Working with him isn't a comfortable experience. He's never satisfied with himself, so he's never really satisfied with anyone around him. He pushes himself harder and harder, and he pushes others around him the exact same way. In addition, Elon Musk himself tweeted, "There are way easier places to work, but nobody ever changes the world on 40 hours a week." But this pressure has come at a price, as Tesla's Fremont plant has published shocking accident figures on several occasions. The rate of serious injuries at Tesla's Fremont plant was approximately double the industry average for 2015. Musk is not a fan of unions, which is partly the reason for the Biden administration's rejection of Tesla. His vindictiveness. Currently, Elon Musk bought Twitter to end its annoying censorship and guarantee free speech. However, a curious case is described in the book Elon Musk, Tesla, SpaceX, and the Quest for a Fantastic Future by Ashley Vance. An employee had written something he disliked, and Musk tried to find out the identity of the employee. He copied the text of the letter into a Word document, checked the size of the file, sent it to a printer, and looked over the logs of printer activity to find one the same size. He could then trace that back to the person who had printed the original file. The employee wrote a letter of apology and resigned. You'd think Elon Musk would have better things to do with his limited time. Lack of recognition for outstanding achievements. In addition, two other interesting stories are revealed in the book. The story of Steve Davis. Steve Davis is a brilliant engineer and is the current president of the Boring Company. During his time at SpaceX, he received a very challenging request from Musk, considering he had never built hardware before. SpaceX needed an actuator that would trigger the gimbal action used to steer the upper stage of Falcon 1. He tried to find a supplier and got a quote back for $120,000, but Musk only gave him a budget of $5,000. Davis spent 9 months building the actuator and only spent $3,900 of the budget. He wrote a long email at the end of the process about his accomplishment, to which Elon simply replied, "Okay." The story of Mary Beth Brown. Mary Beth was his longtime assistant and someone who shaped the early culture at SpaceX. She worked similar hours to Elon and is described as an extension of Musk. She was reportedly fired in 2014 after 12 years after asking for a lavish raise. She wanted to be paid the same as a top executive, and he tested out whether he could handle 2 weeks without her. This was a real shock to her and many other employees. According to Ashley Vance's book, Musk said that she had become too comfortable speaking on his behalf and that, frankly, she needed a life. However, Elon used Twitter to deny that it happened that way and wrote, the email with 3 possible behaviors for Tesla managers. In November 2021, an email from Elon Musk caused quite a stir, stating that only 3 behaviors are allowed when Elon emails someone, and how if someone deviates from his instructions, they'll be exempted. A healthy company culture is one of the most crucial success factors, and the communication culture has a decisive influence on this. But when I see an email like this, I think of a toxic company culture rather than a healthy environment. Risk of bankruptcy. At the end of November 2021, another email from Elon Musk made global headlines, stating that the problems with the Starship's Raptor engines posed a risk of insolvency. Shortly before that, with Will Heltsley, SpaceX's Vice President of Propulsion, and Lee Rosen, SpaceX's Vice President of Mission and Launch Operations, left the company. Normally, it's not a good sign when several senior managers leave following public talk of insolvency, especially since suppliers and investors do not like to hear such things. But Elon probably thought it would be a good idea to put public pressure on his employees in engine development. SpaceX is not the only aerospace company with engine problems. Its competitors, such as Blue Origin, are also struggling, and there are numerous job openings in this area. After all, such an engine and associated tanks and their interaction are complicated. It's literally rocket science. With Elon's approach, there's a risk that the pressure on some employees will become so great that they'll collapse under the pressure and suffer health effects. I'd have thought that it'd be wiser to work collaboratively to solve the problem. Some milestones have already been reached on both the Raptor engine and the Starship, and it was to be expected that there'd be setbacks on such ambitious projects. After all, it's the first fully reusable spacecraft, and the intention is to fly to the Moon and Mars manned. His company, Neuralink, has been criticized several times. The neurotechnology company he founded in 2016 offers the potential to cure serious diseases, such as Parkinson's, and could connect the human brain to a computer by means of a chip. However, Elon Musk had to take harsh criticism of this company several times. The company's promises have been described as highly speculative and claimed to be mere theatre, among others, by MIT Review and the BBC. In February 2022, the US Department of Agriculture filed alleged cruel treatment of macaque monkeys being used to test the technology. The company then published a lengthy statement, but despite all the PR attempts, 15 of 23 monkeys did not survive the tests, which cost Musk and his company many sympathies. The president of the animal protection organization PETA, Ingrid Newkirk, then published a statement. PETA challenges Elon Musk to behave like a pioneer and implant the Neuralink chip in his own brain. He doesn't like public transport. At a Tesla event in Long Beach, California, Musk said, "I think public transportation is painful. It sucks." He also pointed out that a fellow passenger could even be a serial killer. The expansion of public transport would help solve many current problems, and not everyone can afford to buy a Tesla. What do you think of Elon Musk? Write your opinion in the comments.